what is it? You wake up in the morning and you're like, I just got to go traumatize people
because
with disturbing
we need to talk to people like you
of abortion and like yell into a bullhorn. You know what I mean? I'm just curious about that.
I do, because I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and I'm obeying his commandments to love my neighbor as myself.
And you think this is loving your neighbor?
It's loving my preborn neighbors who've been ripped apart. It's loving. It's very loving to them.
They have no voice.
These children, they wish that I was doing this.
Well, that's not a child, though. That's
that's why.
Developing fetus.
No, you're dehumanizing the preborn.
Well, right. It will eventually turn into.
No, it is a human being from the moment of fertilization. That's basic science, basic biology.
Won't turn into a child like that.
I've heard that before.
It's true.
No, okay, yeah, you can say it's true, but like.
Well, science says it's true. Basic biology, common sense.
What do you mean, common sense, basic biology?
Because, think about when a woman becomes pregnant, and she wants the child, do we say she's carrying a fetus? No. I don't think I've ever heard of people say she's carrying.
That's social.
No. I'm saying that's common sense. We never say that she's carrying a fetus.
Common sense, but I'm trying to get down to like when you say it's science, right?
That's
biology.
Biology, common sense.
You're making an assertion that it's like this is an incontrovertible truth. That's an unequivocal fact of reality. That's what you're saying, right?
It is.
But then when you start to make the argument, it sounds like you're just kind of talking about your opinion.
It's not an opinion.
Well, but it is though, right? Because can you point me to like the peer-reviewed scientific journal that declares specifically based on science that life begins when a sperm fertilizes an egg? I mean, where is that? Just pull out any science textbook, any book on basic human biology, and scientists, they'll tell you that when the egg and the sperm meet, when the sperm fertilizes the egg, then a new human being has come into existence.
Everything is in there. That is what it
exactly
takes.
The DNA is there.
I'm not sure that that's a scientific assertion, though, right? I mean, what the science says is like, the moment that a sperm fertilizes an egg begins the process of what will eventually become a person developing. Like the biological matter is developing inside of the womb, right? But when we get into like, when do we decide to call it a person? There's no like hard scientific consensus about that. That's more of like a moral and metaphysical question, right? So like you have a belief system. You believe in Jesus and you're Christian, and your belief system tells you that life begins at conception. Okay.
I think I would have believed that when I was a pagan.
Well, okay,
it's common sense, honestly.
Well, you don't believe anything when you're a baby because your brain doesn't.
No, when I was a.
Where does it start?
What's that?
It doesn't start at conception. Where does?
Where else does it start? Yeah. 5 months, 5 weeks.
Right.
I mean, and who determines that?
Where does it start?
That's a question.
Well, according to the law, it starts when the fetus is viable outside of the womb, which is the 3rd trimester.
So how do we know the law is right?
Changing.
The law used to say it's okay to own slaves, to own black people, to treat them like property, to torture them, to murder them.
But that's not really the same thing.
Well, no, I'm saying if you go by the law, laws are often wrong.
Okay, but then you're just sort of arguing against the concept of law, because any law could be
wrong.
Right?
What I'm saying is, if you're going by the law, then there are laws that people recognize as wrong. So you can't just go by what's supposedly legal in our country and the other country.
Well, right, but the point is not that I define life as starting at a certain time because the law says it does. I'm just saying that like that's what we've agreed upon as a society.
And society's wrong.
There is no way to really answer when does a human being come into existence, right?
Yeah, we've already proven fertilization, and people deny that because they want to have sex without responsibility and have their child murdered. That's why people deny this, because they want to be irresponsible.
Those are fingers
and they know.
Right, but then you're getting into something that I don't think you can prove at all, right? Like
just look at our society. That's proof enough.
Sex is immoral or unethical.
Well, what I'm saying is people have sex, and what often results from people having sex, a child is conceived, and people who don't want to be parents, what do they do with that child? They go to Planned Parenthood and pay someone to murder their child.
God is very clear. Abortion is sin.
Less than 3% of what Planned Parenthood does is abortion, and also many other providers of abortion services. Not just Planned Parenthood.
I know. That, right? Yeah, I know that. Okay. And they still do murder, and we should still condemn them.
Right. Yeah, but that's just because you define abortion as murder.
I wanted to.
Right.
No.
I was trying to say.
Well, what is murder?
It's
fornication. Is
yeah,
sin.
and our society is full of murderers.
Fornication and adultery are sin. God does not mix His words at all.
According to your belief system.
That's what God says.
Well,
fornication and adultery.
Sure, but I don't believe in God, so.
Well.
The rules don't apply to me.
Hell is a really horrible place.
I'm sure it is quite terrible. Yeah, and I'm sure that I'm. Wait. Am I going to like the fiery burning hell? Like the literal actual? Is it a physical place, or is it more of like a metaphysical?
Just turn to the Lord. Ask Him if He's real. Check Him out yourself.
He's revealing Himself to you via everything you see.
I went to Catholic school and I went to church.
You did?
Yeah, I got baptized and took communion.
So your parents taught you this stuff? I
no, my parents didn't really know.
Really?
They were pretty secular, actually. I mean, my mom was raised Roman Catholic, so she's got some of that.
Kind of like my parents. Yeah, they kind of went their own way, and I kept going to church.
Yeah, but like for example, like this is a secular nation. It's not a Christian.
Oh, I agree. It's very secular. I see.
We have a person
I'm not talking. No, I'm not talking. I'm not describing it as it currently exists. I'm saying like it is actually literally fundamentally a secular nation.
We have a person in the White House that's been calling himself a Christian.
Right? You understand that?
I wouldn't agree with that, but
no, it is literally codified in the Constitution. That's what separation of church and state is about. I mean, you're aware of this, right? Like the First Amendment of the Constitution specifically says no law shall be established respecting any particular religion.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So it's not a Christian nation.
Christians.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but like, it's not a Christian nation, so I'm not a Christian, and that's fine. So I don't believe what you guys believe about when life starts, or if I'm going to hell, or any of that stuff. I might be wrong. You might be wrong.
I'm not telling you. You just ask God what He says.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what that means, though. Like, because nobody's going to speak to me.
In the Bible.
If somebody spoke back to me, that would mean I had a mental illness called schizophrenia.
The Bible tells you.
Do you hear the voice of God? Does God talk to you?
Once in a while.
Does He speak in English?
Once in a while, yeah. Very rarely.
Can you describe some of the things He says?
He's told me something recently, very clearly.
Like you actually heard the voice.
I thought I did.
In your head.
Yeah.
Like you heard like.
Yes.
The auditory. That's
very rarely in my life. Maybe just a small 2 times or 3 times.
Well, He speaks through His Word.
And what did He say to you?
I can't tell you. It's personal.
The Word of God? You can't share with me?
It was a personal statement to me. Yeah, something about my life at the time. It was personal.
He speaks through His Word.
Yeah,
that's how you know the mind of God. You read His Word.
Exactly.
And that's how we know that this is murder, through His Word, through the law of God written on your heart, written on all of our hearts. Okay. The law of God says you shall not murder.
Sure, but like most people in the world are not Christians and just don't believe what you believe, right?
Most people are pagans. They're in rebellion to God.
The Bible says the majority of people will not go to heaven.
In Matthew chapter 7. Sure. But even a lot of people who aren't Christians, they believe that this is murder. A lot of Catholics. Catholics are very strongly anti-abortion.
Good for them, good.
And I don't believe that they're saved, most of them, a few. But a lot of people, even, I know atheists in America who know that this is murder. So it's
what did you say, little children?
Well, yeah, I mean, little children. If you show a child this image, they'll ask something like, what happened to that baby? Who broke the baby? They know.
Yeah.
Because the reason that adults, people who are in their 20s and older, a lot of them in America, the reason that they dehumanize these children and they say it's not murder is because they have been brainwashed by American culture. That's in rebellion to God. And younger children who haven't been brainwashed yet, indoctrinated yet, they just using their brains and common sense, they understand they understand something happened to this child and it's not good. And that's what I've come to see.
Okay, well, I mean, you're just kind of making claims about things that you think, right?
Well, I'm saying that's what I've experienced and that's what I've heard of testimonies of parents who raised their children doing this, and their children understood at a young age something's wrong here, and this is a child, and we need to stop this.
Anybody looking at it can tell that's a person. How can someone not know?
Well, because like on this you can see the child's arms,
absolutely,
fingers, legs, feet, where the child's head was, rib cage. You can see it's a human being.
Absolutely.
And you can see it's just a smaller human being than we are. and that this human being has been butchered. You can clearly see that.
Ripped.
And so, I mean, what people who say this is not a human being, they're just living in total denial. They want to justify murder.
Just imagine.
And
that was a living baby. Just imagine.
What ended up happening is that we ended up killing, by Department of Defense numbers, at least 200,000 or 300,000 civilians. I'm talking about men, women, children, and even defenseless babies who are still inside the womb, right?
So are you affirming their humanity now?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you affirming their humanity now?
Well, I'm kind of being glib, like about the babies in the womb part, but like the men, women, and children who are actually alive and exist, I'm not being glib about that.
Well, you were dehumanizing them earlier.
I'm sorry, what?
You were dehumanizing them earlier.
Dehumanizing who?
Children,
the preborn.
Unborn.
Well, I don't believe that they're children. I don't
So were you quoting something else when you're saying that, or yourself?
I don't know. Wait, what are you referring to?
Well, you're just talking about preborn children.
I was being silly.
Okay, sound
I was trying to throw you a bone.
Sound like you're being serious.
Joke.
It's not a dumb joke about this.
Let's forget about the unborn fetuses part. Men, women,
okay,
and
now
children.
you're dehumanizing them. Okay, there we go.
Hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children. Okay? That are military,